Good afternoon, guys. Happy Thursday afternoon. So, quite a few of y'all this morning, many of you, a lot of emails, all had sent me the video that Christian over at Ice Age Farmer put up today. And obviously, I watched it, everything like that. And, he's very accurate in what he's saying. And when he talks about, and I'll link this video below for anybody that didn't see it so you guys can check out what he says. It's definitely worth going to see. But, free will and everything like that, I totally agree. Our souls, as he put it, kind of are being stripped from us. We're no longer being considered human. But this isn't a new phenomenon here, if you will, for people. We've been, as human beings, I won't just say Americans because this happens everywhere, okay? We've been manipulated our entire lives. And if you think I'm kidding, I'll give you some examples, all right? Go into the grocery store, and many of you guys know this. The most expensive ketchups or soups or whatever you're buying are at eye level, okay? The store brand or whatever is going to be down at the bottom on the floor level. They're manipulating you into seeing that first and hopefully buying the more expensive products. There's countless ways to manipulate you. Look at clothing or cars or anything. You see the commercials on TV, and you want to buy a sports car? Oh, we have women in bikinis that are, the ones driving the sports car or whatever, with their hair blowing in the back, everything like that, because they're trying to put that thought into your head of, oh, that could be me. I'm sorry, but I'm going to look pretty crappy in a bikini, all right? So, I don't care. Put me in a Ferrari and I'm not going to look like any of the models on TV that are advertising the cars. But that's how we are manipulated over and over and over again. You see it on the computer. God forbid, have a conversation in your house and talk about cherry trees. And I use this one for example because we were yesterday. Okay, me and Mrs. P. I kid you not. Now, granted, I was also looking up cherry trees on the internet, so I can't say it was the computer listening to me or something. But all the ads on the sides of different things now were for different tree farms, to look at. So, we are manipulated over and over and over again, and by companies. This has been going on forever. And now what you have is the governments saying, well, hey, if they can get them to buy the expensive can of soup, or they can, get them to buy the sports car or the slinky dress or whatever, why can't we do this in politics and manipulate people like that? And that's exactly what they're doing. You look at all of the things that are going on right now with the southern border. Christ, if you disagree with anything going on the southern border, you're instantly called a racist. So, people don't like to be insulted, so they keep quiet. Okay. You're pro-choice, if you will, in the mandates that are going on now, and instantly you're pegged as an anti-vaxxer, a terrorist, okay? Again, so it's manipulating your mind to go, I don't want to be referred to as a terrorist, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. And this is exactly what the governments are trying to do right now. All of them. Pick one. I don't care if it's the United States, it's Canada, it's China, it's Russia, it's Australia, it's France, it's Germany, it's England, it's Bolivia, it's Brazil, it's wherever, okay? They're all doing the same thing. And it's all for control. That's all it is. And the thing is, they've got big tech right in their back pocket, because who knows what backroom deals have been made with Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey and any of the other cast of nerds that run all these tech companies. But the tech companies are basically doing the bidding for all of these elitists, and you know damn well that the Zuckerbergs and the Dorseys of the world have been promised something by the politicians. And I've talked about this before, that you're going to have Dorseyville and, Bezos Town and Zuckerberg, whatever would be. So this is what's going on. We're being manipulated to take everything, like Christian said, to take our free will away, to take our spirit away, and for us to just eventually be beaten down so much we're not going to resist anymore. And I mean, it's a war of attrition. Just beat them down, beat them down, beat them down, and finally they'll just become complacent because they can't do it anymore. All right. So what are they going to do? Just like anything else, let's take away all of their, and this, going back to my training, this is actually an interrogation technique, okay? But, taking away things, make it more difficult to eat, make it more difficult to drive a car, make it more difficult to stay warm, until you finally get to the point where you've been manipulated enough going, okay, if you're going to give me a loaf of bread and a bottle of water, I'll do what you want. Oh, okay, if you're going to, give me a cord of wood so I can heat my house, I'll do what I want. This is what's going on, guys. This is, you want to talk about human rights. This is criminal to a level this high, okay? That they're trying to take all this away from me. We talked about what was going on in England yesterday, okay, about the fuel prices. And what's going on? Don't anybody even try to tell me that there is not some manipulation going on in there to get people to say, oh, gee, we got to spend more money quick so we can get the infrastructure set up for our green energy, just because, last winter was so cold. So, and man, I hated having my house at, 55 degrees or whatever Fahrenheit. Okay, I'm okay with paying this so it won't be so bad next year. Oh, there's all these cargo ships out there. I had a hard time buying clothing because nothing came there. I don't want that to happen again, so let's take it. We're being manipulated, and we are accepting it as the populations all over the place. They are, like Christian said, trying to steal our soul, trying to steal our free will, okay? Taking away everything that not only our wants, but our needs. When you start taking away people's food, shelter, housing, well, that is shelter, okay, heat, whatever would be, these are basic necessities. Food, water, shelter, your basic necessities. Think about this. There's less food in the stores. Food's got more expensive. It's manipulation. Gee, we put on this rent moratorium. Don't even begin to tell me that they didn't think ahead of time. Gee, a whole bunch of people won't pay their rent. We know that, and then at the end we can just take all their houses and go throw them out in the woods and say you don't have a house anymore. They knew that would happen. Okay, we all knew that would happen. That was planned. That was manipulation. Anything else? If this wasn't a national pandemic, okay, and people lost their jobs or whatever, they would have figured out some way to pay their rent if they would have been out on the street. But when everybody was told, hey, you don't have to do it, they're like, cool, we don't have to do it. Okay, that's where we're. It's total manipulation, and the tech companies are right in the pockets of the politicians. Okay, there's a lot of good people in this country or in this world. Okay, there's more good people than there are evil people. That if there weren't, the earth would have ceased to exist a long time ago. Okay. I'm certain, and this is kind of like what Navalny said after the election of the Russian election here a couple of days ago. And I'm certain Navalny's right, that there are a lot of good people that work for these tech companies, that work for Google, that work for Apple, that work for Twitter, okay? Like Navalny said, and I'm going to agree with them, I urge them to start blowing the whistle on the cowards that are running the show. You get Project Veritas all the time putting out good information that they've got into, okay, that they've heard when nobody knew who they actually were. We need more of that. We need whistleblowers like crazy. We need to bring this house down. Because if we don't, they're going to continue to manipulate and take away and do whatever. And no matter how hard we prep, they're going to make it harder and harder and harder. Gee, we all prep food in case there's no food. We all paid off our houses if we could, so they couldn't take it. Many of you guys have said before, what'll be the next thing? Hey, let's just raise their property taxes tenfold to make it so they can't afford to pay it. Let's keep them from going to work so they don't have any money. Do all this. They're trying to take away everything to make us bow down and kiss their feet. We can't do this. We have to keep going. You see the stories from southern Texas with what's going on with the southern border. The border of Texas is notoriously very Democrat. Even those people are waking up and saying, if this is what they want the Democrat Party stands for, I can't vote for them anymore. There was a survey that came out this morning that said if a re-election was held right now between Trump and Biden, Trump would win by 10 points. Of course, that doesn't take into account any of the Dominion machines, but that's the sentiment in the public in the United States right now. The people are pissed, and we cannot sit back on our laurels and go, it'll all get better. We need to keep making noise. We need to keep standing up to the tyranny that is coming out of Washington. Keep fighting, guys. Keep prepping, but keep being loud, all right? Yeah, I know. You get people screaming and yelling at you on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever you go, in the grocery store, whatever it is. You all know one of my favorite t-shirts, and I love wearing that one in public and the looks that I get. But it makes nobody has any question about where I stand when I wear that shirt. And if it makes people back away from me, good. Okay? Because they are not going to manipulate me. And I hope to God they aren't going to manipulate you. Have a good afternoon, guys. Got a surprise for you tonight. Pinball out.